The Big Lebowski might have made this phrase famous. I hate the Eagles, man. But that's certainly not true for most of us. Unless you're the new kid in town, you know that the Eagles were arguably the greatest rock band in American history, and in no small part due to the contributions by singer and drummer Don Henley. But while most people know him for his music, Don has long had a less famous but no less impressive career as one of rock music's most illustrious womanizers. His list of gals includes supermodels, Bond girls, and legendary musicians in their own right. Don's story about being pulled between Texas traditionalism and LA hedonism is seriously one for the ages, and it's influenced some of the greatest music of all time. So who was the baddest babe in Don's history? You'll have to watch this video to find out. Before we get started, hit that thumbs up icon to show us some support. And what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel. Now let's take it to the limit and go find out.
What happened?
Lori Rodkin. Although the Eagles had only released one album by 1974, it was enough to make Don Henley a massive star and a mainstay of the LA rock scene. But while he could have had his choice of just about any woman in town, it was the mysterious Lori Rodkin that caught his eye in '74. Lori was working at a music management company, but her history was murky and she was different from the typical riffraff that hung around LA. She wasn't all into drinking or drugs, and music didn't seem to be all that important to her. The two began dating, and it wasn't long before they moved in together in Malibu. Eventually, the truth came out. Lori had come from Chicago on a whim at the age of 19 to follow a wannabe rocker boyfriend. After that, she had begun lying her way into jobs before quickly being fired from each one. 18 of them to be exact. The music management gig was the only one that stuck. It's not clear what caused their relationship to crumble, but it was apparently very ugly. And Don wrote the bitter Eagles tune Wasting Time about her, as well as much of Hotel California. Lori rebounded just fine though. She eventually began pursuing her passion of jewelry, and would end up being one of the most prominent designers in the world. In the following years, she developed friendships with Salvador Dali, Cher, and Elton John. She dated Bernie Taupin and Richard Gere, and was even propositioned by Jimi Hendrix. But she never would have had such opportunities had it not been for Don Henley. As for Don, he emerged from the breakup intact as well, because he was about to meet a woman who would change his life forever. Stevie Nicks. Now, we all know Stevie Nicks probably has the most documented love life in rock history. But while her relationships with her bandmates inspired much of Rumors, as well as other incredible songs, do you know what songs Don inspired? In 1975, the internal structure of Fleetwood Mac was crumbling. Stevie dated both Lindsey Buckingham and Mick Fleetwood, and both relationships infamously crumbled. She now had to leave her band to find someone to dry her tears, and who did she discover? Drumroll, please. Just play the drumroll, Don Henley, cause it's you. Their relationship developed quickly. It developed so quickly that in 1979, Stevie was pregnant with his child. The pair was very much in love, and the future seemed mapped out clearly. They would marry and settle down. But Stevie Nicks was not ready to abandon her career and rock and roll lifestyle. So she decided to abort the child, and the two broke up. You may know that the song Sarah was written about Mick Fleetwood, who was cheating on Stevie with and went on to marry a woman named Sarah. But there's also double meaning to the song. Sarah is the name that she would have given Don's unborn child. Despite their tumultuous tenure, Stevie and Don remained on good terms for years to come. They sang the popular duet Leather and Lace together in 1980, and would tour together decades later in 2005. Lois Chiles. Don's long list of lovers includes many models and one of the most renowned rockers of all time. But did you know he also bagged a Bond girl? After his previous relationships with music industry movers and shakers, Don wanted a change of pace. This is when he met Lois Chiles. He thought he had finally met the woman for him. Originally from Houston, Lois had modeled in New York before moving to LA. Like him, she was familiar both with traditional Texas values and a fast-paced city life. It seemed that Lois could give Don the peaceful, easy feeling he was chasing, and the pair lasted for 3 years before dissolving. There wasn't any bad blood between the two, it seemed they were just different. In her career, Lois would develop friendships with Tennessee Williams and Andy Warhol, and act in The Way We Were, The Great Gatsby, Broadcast News, and Dallas. But the two things that defined her career was her Bond girl in Moonraker, and her 3 years with Don Henley. Maren Jensen. After dating Lois, it seemed that Don had acquired a taste for models. But could any woman live up to the impossible standard of a Bond girl? Well, Maren Jensen was born a long way from Texas or LA. A native Hawaiian, she began modeling when she went to college at UCLA, and later starred as Athena on the popular show Battlestar Galactica. Maren might not have had the star power of a Stevie Nicks, but Don wasn't looking to take over the world. He had embarked upon a solo career, and Maren was the muse behind his first album, I Can't Stand Still. She even helped him out with the music, singing backing vocals and composing a piano intro for the record. She also appeared in the video for his 1985 song, Not Enough Love in the World. Things got pretty serious between them, and they were engaged to be married. But for unknown reasons, they separated in 1986. Nevertheless, they remained close friends, and Maren helped Don form his nonprofit, the Walden Woods Project. Sharon Summerall. When Don met Sharon Summerall, it seemed he had found the woman of his dreams. But a single bit of bad news would threaten to destroy a budding relationship before it had even begun. Like many of Don's previous lovers, Sharon Summerall was from Texas and a renowned model. But her future was unclear. Just days before she met Don in 1994, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. This terrible disease develops slowly over time, and it can be debilitating, even dramatically shortening the lifespan of those affected. In many ways, it didn't make sense for Don to begin a serious relationship with Sharon. The disease can be debilitating, and he had just met her. But Don Henley saw something special in Sharon, and their relationship developed quickly, and they were married in 1995. In attendance were Bruce Springsteen, Sting, Billy Joel, John Fogerty, Jackson Browne, Sheryl Crow, Glenn Frey, and Tony Bennett. I guess my invitation was lost in the mail. Sharon was the woman Don was finally able to settle down with. The pair have 3 kids together, and Don wrote the song Everything Is Different Now about his beau. The couple even relocated to Dallas, Texas. I think that's a sign that Don was ready to give up the life in a fast lane and settle down. Because today, Don and Sharon are still at it, and Sharon is living well despite her condition. Because, after all, the song says, love will keep us alive. Alright, now get in the comments and tell us which of these relationships do you remember best? What's your favorite Eagles album? What's your favorite song? Do you enjoy Henley's solo stuff? Get in the comments and tell me your thoughts. While you're there, tell us who we should cover next. Click that thumbs up icon if you enjoyed our video. Subscribe to our channel and come back often so we can keep telling you what happened.
What